Hey there, welcome to video 2. In this case, I want to talk to you about the funnel that we are creating for our outsourcing course. And remember, like I mentioned before in the first video, there's going to be a lot more things going in than just the outsourcing course. This probably looks a bit complex. The reason for that could be because it is, but also because I've tried to consider every possible iteration here that I could. I mean, I'm sure that as I go through this, some things will change, but I want to show you everything within this funnel. I want to show you why it is there and how will that impact on the bottom line. So let's look at a few things here that people will buy from us. So this is one of those things, one of the objects, which is software development roadmap, which is a course that we created about how to create software products. Then another thing they can buy is this mentoring from us, which is going to be priced at $14,000 plus. There's going to be initial payment of $4,000 and then 2 more payments of $5,000 each based on agreed goals, or there might be more after that. The other thing that they would buy from us is this outsourcing course that I've been talking about, priced at $497. So systemized lifestyle. And finally, they can also opt in to a video where basically I help them figure out 3 mistakes that everyone makes with outsourcing and how they can avoid that. Now it all fits together quite nicely, and I'm going to start with this one and explain what we're creating and why we're creating that. Okay, there we go. I think, can I move this around? Let's see. So the very first thing that will happen is that we'll run ads. We might send an email to our list as well about this, but mostly we will run ads, and we'll send people to an opt-in page where I'll deliver an ebook called Done by 7. Now this is based on my own productivity hacks where I wake up in the morning quite early, usually 4:30 a.m. and by 7 a.m. I've done the main tasks that I had to do for the day, which means that when everyone else is starting their day, I've mostly finished mine. So after 7 a.m. I can focus on other things that I have to do and extra tasks that come up, or work with my team and stuff like that. So I go to bed at about 10 every night and I wake up at 4:30 in the morning, gives me 6.5 hours of sleep, and I detail the entire process as to what I do. It's not about, let's say, what food I eat and so on, but this is about lifestyle. Now, what's happening here is that this is very personalized to me. This is my way of building trust with someone. This is my way of showing people what my lifestyle is. Some might consider it boring. It might not work for someone who's really flashy and stays up till 5 in the morning. But the kind of people I'm going after are people who want to be disciplined, because the approach that I show them later is a disciplined approach. Right? So here's what's going to happen. 2 things. People might opt into this or people might not. If they choose not to, then they simply get added to a retargeting list, which I can use in future, right? So I can also advertise to this retargeting list as well as do cold ads. But if they do choose to opt in, then I'll give them the ebook, which is about 4 or 5 pages delivered to their email address. And I'll also pitch them further immediately on this software development roadmap. So I'll tell them that, hey, listen, congratulations on getting access to Done by 7. It is something that I use as a Bible every day. I stick to it, and it's worked out really well for me. And here's who I am. This is what I do. I run a software company. We create this, we do this. You've created tons of software. Over the last 3 years, every year we've hit more than $1.5 million in revenue. And I want to show you how I do all of that. Of course, I can't give you everything, but what I can give you is my design of how I create software. So there you go. Luckily, in this case, this course is already done. The sales page is done as well, though I need to port it into instasuite. I need to create it within instasuite. But this is done. Now, here's what's going to happen. People are either going to say no, or they're going to say yes. If they say no, I send them through a 7 email sequence over the next 10 days where I try and pitch it to them again and again. I'll say, hey, listen, this is why you need to buy it. This is what you could do with it. This is also what could happen. This is what happens if you don't buy it. Everything that I can tell them till they unsubscribe, till they give up. Right? So that's the entire process. If they do buy, what happens is that I send them an engagement campaign. So over the course of 5 emails or less, I tell them more about me, who I am, what we do, what my life is like, maybe pictures of my family, anything to build engagement. And then I run them through a 10-part email coaching series, which means that in these 10 emails, what I'm basically doing is I'm teaching them stuff. I am essentially nudging them and saying, hey, listen, I could mentor you. If you want to do the same thing that I want to do, I could work with you. But here's the thing. This is a long email campaign series because I'm going to be pre-qualifying them very strongly. By pre-qualifying them, I mean that I'm going to be putting questions in front of them that if they don't answer right, I won't work with them. You have to understand that if I'm willing to do coaching calls with someone, they have to be good. If I'm taking $14,000 from someone and $4,000 up front, they have to be at least making $5,000 a month to be comfortable paying that. It's an investment. For someone who's only making $1,000, this might not work. It just might not work. But if they are making enough money, I can work with them because I can help them 2, 3, 5 times that within the next 12 months. So I'll run them through 10 email coaching series campaign. And, through that process, they will they will sign up for a call with me. They will fill in the survey, sign up for a call. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, no problem. If it doesn't work out, I kind of forgot the no button here, but if it doesn't work out, they go into the general list, right? Which means that I can now sell them whatever else I want. Okay? That's one thing. Of course, I could also, in this case, as it says no here, actually, it does say that, I could send them to the next offer, right? So this is my next offer, auto webinar sign up. Now I'm running ads to this auto webinar, or rather I will be running ads to this auto webinar. Auto webinar means that this webinar has been pre-recorded. It's preset. People just come in, pick a time that they want to watch, and they start watching it at that time, or they start watching it immediately. This is better than doing a live webinar. I mean, it really depends, right? Live webinar is great, but I can't do 7 webinars in a week myself, right? It'll just get too tiring, and I'll be repeating the same thing over and over again. So auto webinars work well. They've been tried by many in our community. There's a software you can use for that. It's called EverWebinar. I think even Webinar Jam works with it. So it's a good setup, and that's what I'll go after. But here's the funny thing. As of right now, I don't even have a webinar set. So I have to create a webinar to be able to run this. So here's what's going to happen. People are either going to sign up or they won't. If they don't sign up, then they go into a retargeting list, right? If they do sign up though, they get pitched on the webinar an outsourcing course for $497, where I'll show them basically, what's my lifestyle like and how I'm able to lead it, everything that I do, how much time do I have, and here's why I'm the right person to show them this training, and here's what they get out of this training. Remember, we already have the training idea set, and I'll be improving that as we go along, but this is something they can have. Now, here's what's going to happen. They're either going to say no, right? In which case I push them through a 5 email closeout campaign, which means I try and sell it to them again and again and again till they buy over 5 emails. They might say no, it's completely fine, and I'll come to that. But if they do buy that course for $497, I can then run them through another 5 email engagement campaign, right? So similar to what I did here earlier, it could be similar, it's completely fine. I mean, you might worry that if you're going to send the same email to these people that they've already received, isn't that a problem? Well, maybe, but you have to understand that the time between this email, the last email here, and the first email here, we're looking at about approximately 25 days or a month. It's a long time. People might have forgotten. They could, of course, unsubscribe, but they've already paid us $497, so it's okay. Even after all of that, if they don't buy the engagement, even if after all of that, nothing happens, I can move them. It says no here, but really after the engagement series ends, I can move them back to the coaching series, because now they have purchased a $497 offer for me. They've qualified themselves. They have the money. Now I just need to see if they have enough money, right? Of course, I'm going to give the value. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking as a vendor. I still intend to give value, but I want to make sure that I get them through a process, right? So back to this case, if they choose not to buy the outsourcing course, as I mentioned, I can send them through a 5 email closeout campaign. And again, during that closeout campaign, they might buy, in which case they go back to their email engagement campaign. But if they choose not to buy, I will then send them to the next opt-in, right? So the next opt-in is 3 mistakes that people make when they So the next opt-in is 3 mistakes that people make when they are trying to outsource, right? So here's what happens. If they say no, they go back into the retargeting list, right? And remember, I already have the email address and I can send them other stuff. I can take them out from this campaign and I can send them to other stuff. But if they say yes to this opt-in, then here's what happens. They go back to this, where I can sell them software development roadmap. Now you're probably thinking, Neil, what if they already have all of this? I mean, how long can you really send people around like this? I mean, after 3 months, they'll be circling back again, which is true. In which case, what I can do, and this is unfortunately not possible with InstaSuite because the email tool there is rather limited by design because we don't want it to be complicated, but I'll be using some other tools. And what I will do is that if I realize that they have gone back to this point that they have been before, I'll just take them out of that campaign. I'll just say, okay, if they have seen this email before, let's not send them that email again. Let's just take them out, put them in the general list. So here's what happens. Look at the timeline. Day 1, sign up. Let's say they immediately buy, day 1. And then they go through this campaign series for 10 days, so 11 days. Then they go through this series again for another, let's say 20 days, right? So 31 days already, they've gone through this. They say no, they come to the webinar, they probably, let's say, buy this course, outsourcing course. So now we're looking at day 32. And then we send them through another 10 days worth of email, day 42. Then they go back into the coaching email series, day 62. They say no again. I mean, we go back to this, right? And again, they've probably already seen this. And because they've seen this, I take them out of that campaign, right? Because they've already been refused for the survey twice, or let's say even if once they've been refused, I can take them out and I can just put them in the general list. So this is a little bit complicated and you need to be very mindful of the entire process when you're using an autoresponder, but not a lot of autoresponders do that. There are only a few in the market, and Infusionsoft is one of them. It's very complicated to use those. I'm looking at another one called Market Hero. That's a little bit easier, but I'm still going to put this in and see if it's actually feasible. It might not. I might trip myself. In which case, I just break the chain, right? In which case, what I do is, instead of sending all these people straight to here, I send them through maybe another qualification. Or I take out all the buyers, right? I take out these buyers and market to them differently. So it really depends on when you set these things up. It's not going to be foolproof on day 1. My goal still is that I put in $1 and I take out $3 out. My goal still is that with this campaign over the next 2 months, I put in $5,000 and I take out 15, which means I make a profit of $10,000, right? So funnels can be a bit complicated. This is the absolute ideal perfect model. As you can see, it's a bit circular. The only time they get out is from here, so it might not work that well, but it is something to begin with, and I can change it as I go along. I can improve it. I used draw.io to create it, so you can go here and you can go to draw.io and you can create these kind of mind maps, these kind of flowcharts with the software. Okay, I hope it's been useful. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Thanks.